Warm welcome, this is Markus Termin at the 28th of April 2024. As I'm speaking, the moon is still in the sign of Sagittarius, but will change its position midst of the day, Middle European summertime, from the sign of Sagittarius to the sign of Capricorn. And when the moon is in Capricorn, on this here chart, I put out the very moment for it. It makes a great Earth trine towards the planets in Taurus. And later on, of course, the trine will be completed with Lilith. She's actually not a heavenly body, but just a point of calculation. That's a little difference or a big difference. But anyhow, Earth trine after the full moon means that we are going into a more harmonic vibe. You know, this is Earth to Earth. And what does Earth mean? It's nice and good for any kind of foundation built on the idea of moon in Capricorn responsibility. It's all about foundation and responsibility. Responsibility towards those you love, towards the idea of truth and the idea of happiness and anything like that. There's another thing I want to talk about to you today because it's Sunday and fill up the knowledge about astrology a little more. Up there in the sign of Pisces, Mars is approaching Neptune very, very tight, and it is going to meet Neptune. Mars is going to meet Neptune, not it, he, tomorrow. You know, what does this basically mean? Now, the interesting thing is that in astrology we have this ruling system. That means Mars is the ruler of Aries, and he's right now in the sign of Pisces. And for the Piscean people, this is very important because that means the Piscean people are actually the ones who are carrying the Mars force at this time. And not only that, they are also carrying the force of Saturn and they are carrying the force of Neptune. This is what Piscean people and those who have Piscean major forces in their chart, rising sign, moon, Jupiter and Venus in Pisces, all about that, Pisces on an axis. This is what those who have Pisces in their chart will feel as important. And that means that the Piscean people will feel like the ruler of their sign does. Now the ruler gets, in addition to his glory in spiritual heavens, Jupiter, Neptune in Pisces, and negative side is known, which is pollution and lies all over and things like that. He will get, in addition to that, the force of the spiritual warrior. This is going to strengthen him, and this is going to nudge him a little bit. Neptune, we're talking about Neptune, the warrior comes along and say, well, come on now, it's time to go. You know, it's time to get into action. Now that is only the view on the sign of Pisces. What about Taurus? Taurus being ruled by Venus, and Venus is about ready to get over to the sign of Taurus, but she's not yet. So Taurus is being ruled by Venus, and Venus is in Aries. What does this mean? That means Taurus will feel like Venus in Aries. That means new start, action, activity, inspiration. And so is Libra down here. Though Libra carries the south node and has a heavy Saturn-like load to carry along, that means that Libra is also directed by Venus, which is in the moment still in the sign of Aries and means the same. Have a fresh start, get inspiration, do it, start things. And then it goes along, of course, Mars is again in the sign of Pisces, and Mars brings responsible messages to Neptune, but with Neptune in the moment it ends up all because Neptune is the holder of the rule of the whole chart. Now if we go over to the sign of Gemini, you find out, well, Gemini is empty. There's no planet in Gemini. But who's the ruler of Gemini? The ruler of Gemini is Mercury, and Mercury is now in direct motion close to the North Node, accelerating speed, getting quicker and quicker now. And that makes a move for the Gemini people too, as well as the Virgo people, because Virgo and Gemini are both ruled by Mercury. Mercury is in bold Aries and say, okay, time to get out there, time to have action. Now, if we shift over to the sign of Cancer, you'll find out, well, that's a quick change, because Cancer, doesn't the moon change today? Didn't he say that? Midst of the day, change from Sagittarius to the sign of Capricorn. Yes, and that's the way it is. Cancer, as we know, is the most moody sign, and it has 28 possibilities, 12 possibilities actually a month to change the mood. The moon stays around 2.5 days in every sign. Sometimes it's a little longer, sometimes it's shorter, and that will affect the mood of the Cancerian people. Not only the moon, but whatever he does in combination with aspects. That means that the aspect in between moon and sun, if it's a trine and if it's harmonical, makes the Cancerian people feel better, because they are out of tension a little bit. And that's the way it goes all over. Going to Leo, you'll find out, well, the Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun is in Taurus right now. So it's all about foundation for Leo. It's all about, how am I get my bills paid? How am I gonna make my money? Especially big money, because Jupiter is in Taurus too. And that's how the zodiac works. If we're down at Scorpio, it's about Pluto after all, and the old ruler Mars, of course. Now Pluto is in Libra, in Aquarius. But it's all about liberty in Aquarius, and it's about evolving technique from another perspective. And that's the situation the Scorpio people have to deal with, but also with Mars and all the aspects Mars does. And Sagittarius, of course, will feel like Jupiter does. They are quite in the same situation as Leo is, because Jupiter is in Taurus and is getting bigger values there in Taurus, and maybe we just do the circle all through, coming to Capricorn. Of course, it's all about Saturn. Capricorn is about Saturn, and that means it takes 2.5 years to really change the mood of Capricorn people. But there are a lot of aspects to Saturn, and there are a lot of circumstances. Right now, Saturn is in the sign of Pisces, and if it comes bad, it's about dissolving structures. So that's a possibility to learn to swim for Capricorn people. Going over to Aquarius, we are at Uranus as the ruler again, and additionally Saturn, of course, again. And it ends up as Pisces come up, because Pisces is being ruled by Neptune and Jupiter, and Neptune is right now the boss of it all, because all domination change end at Neptune. Neptune is spirit, and it's a nice Sunday, so go out and do the best and fight for your right. Thank you for listening.